Hello again. Well, for the front line, we seem to have done all the really difficult stuff last time, so let's clean this up and move forward. Normally I don't move and then recover, but this move is especially important, because it'll put me in range of that thing over there, which we will take a closer look at in a few turns. Let's see. Yeah. I don't actually need to use any special shells right here, but I do want to get one last shot off to remove the shield, and I think I know how. Also, it looks like Emilio is in trouble, but trust me, it's not really a problem. And I believe that's that. Not quite sure why that counts as a shield hit, but whatever. Hooray! And I think since I have the maximum attacks to burn, I might as well make things a little easier for the follow-up to finish this guy off. Also, a button to shorten the maximum attack animations in particular. We have the technology. These are the PlayStation 2 days. Now you might want to know why I'm so certain Emilio is in no danger. He is a little bit surrounded. The answer is just taking a look at when the other two get their moves. This one especially, not for another 4 hours. Alright. And the other thing is, this guy looks like he'll move soon, but Ipe moves first, and Ipe, as you know very well, does not mess around. Right, now what I'm going to do here is pretty risky, I gotta say. I also want him to move into the mountains because I believe that'll actually make his move come in sooner. But I think it'll be helpful to deal with this unit's ground troops because, first of all, what else is he going to do? And second, well, the person I plan to have follow up is John, and his shooters are a little fragile. We'd rather not get them roughed up too much. Come on, move. I was hoping that he would move both of those guys forward at the same time. Oh well. Now, since he has 3 APCR shells loaded up, I don't think he's going to fire too many normal shots at me, but just in case. just in case. I wonder if I played this game again, I might try an Iron Man run. It's punishing enough that making a mistake could cost me something significant, but it's not Fire Emblem punishing. So there's that. Yeah, I considered moving both of them back and forth to get their special attacks, but honestly, Snipe is nothing too special. And a quick normal attack would be okay for finishing these guys off, I think. Should I shoot this guy in the legs? Actually, no. It would waste charge up time in the back row, I think. Oh, no, you don't. You're not moving yourself forward into medium range if I can help it. There we go. Should I suppress these guys? That actually might not be a bad idea. A homing shot would push me back. And if the last volley was any indication, it won't take too long to finish these guys off. Whoa, what? That is very high damage for suppressive fire. Now I pretty much just have to keep walking forward. As long as I can minimize that APCR damage. Can he even use it right now? I guess I'll take a really quick shot, but it seems a little risky. Yeah, he's definitely taking a shot at me. That's pretty good news. I don't normally say that, but what can you do? Maybe they're just not rigged to use APCR if they're at short range, because I know you can definitely fire it. You're technically allowed. This does mean that John will take some APCR, but that's got to be countered by the fact that, of course, medium AFWs drop off in really hard in damage at long range. And they're going to be at long range, believe you me. And, yep, this is sort of a time limit.
Call from Lutheran Social.
Kindly ignore that telephone.
Call from Lutheran Social.
Right, so how am I going to manage this? If I manage this right, Jen will be able to move over here and then engage at short range. Yeah, I think this will work. Oh my, bringing out the ink trap, are you? That's very good news for me, because I don't really plan to move my guys forward. At the very least, not until short range, and then they won't be able to use it. If they loaded up their APCs, I would have been in trouble. I think that's about right, so let's set up the dodge. Should I move the troops? I don't think so. Let's use an aim weapon. And after that, it'll be all heat shells. Not a weapon hit. Well, what you gonna do? Yeah, that's pretty good damage. That is reasonably good. One more of those and it should be fine. Hooray! Well, that was pretty clean. And actually, I didn't realize it before, but the Dora is in scouting range. So let's take a look at it right now. Well, there it is. We took a look before, but we didn't go into enough detail because we weren't fighting it at the time. And yeah, that is a mini AFW thing in the front. But I also brought along my brother, who is a history buff and has done some research into this. So, please tell me what this is all about.
Okay, so the Dora... Okay. So the Dora was one of two massive railway guns built by the German army during the Second World War as weapons to be used on the Eastern Front. They went there, but only one of them was actually used. The first gun built, the Schwerer Gustav, was used during the siege of Sevastopol, but before I can tell you why they wanted to use this thing, they were expecting some heavy fortifications, and the Schwerer Gustav and the Dora were 31-inch guns. To give you an idea, the heaviest battleship artillery used during the war were the 18-inch guns on the Yamato, and these guns fired 5-ton high explosive shells or 8-ton armor-piercing shells. Now, when you read about these guns, they sound like something out of Warhammer 40k, because when they were going to be used, it took them 4,000 men 5 weeks to get the gun into position, and 500 men to get it ready to fire. During the siege, they used Dora to just straight out delete several of the outlying forts of the city, as well as destroy an undersea ammunition magazine that was covered with 100 feet of seawater and 33 feet of concrete.
Oh, I guess that's what the armor piercer was for.
Yes.
Right. Now, we have to remind you, because of how bonkers this sounds, that what my brother just explained was actual history, not the history of this alternative universe.
Yes. The main divergence is post-war the Americans decided to actually rebuild the Dora and keep it instead of just scrap it in the 50s.
Yeah. So, do you think it could actually pull a Metal Gear and launch a nuke?
Well, if you can build something that can fit the barrel, I don't see why you wouldn't.
Well, except that you'd be nuking something and that has consequences, but from an engineering standpoint, there's no reason that you couldn't.
Exactly.
Alright, well, thanks very much.
No problem.
So, like that, except it's on legs here. Which, I criticized its ability to move, but I guess it's still less restrictive than being on rails. Also, yes, it has Dora's Fire listed as a maximum attack. We'd like to not deal with that if at all possible. Also, from the description, this actually clarifies something that was described in the briefing before this. It was mentioned that it could not hit moving targets. That actually makes a lot more sense now, because the reason we take so little damage to our AFWs is that those are not direct hits, they're just splash damage, which also explains why it roughs up the troops so much. Gaming-wise, when it starts firing, it puts us at a time limit because it picks a target, it sticks with it, and it deals more damage to the soldiers than we can recover in a turn, so we better keep moving, shall we? Let me just check when he moves and when Ayana moves. Alright, so I can get one more recover before the next attack, and that should keep the squads alive long enough for us to catch up to it. Which is good, because those are both co-op squads. I really, really don't want to lose those. Right, so one APC shell followed by a punch seems like it'll work here. Oh, I expected something else. But I'm probably going to take a normal shell because, well, the smoke shot is going to push me back for reasons unknown to me. That wasn't even really an explosive ordnance, as far as I know. It pushes back the same amount as a direct tank shell hit. Video games. But it's okay. Yep, that'll do it. Plenty of damage to spare, too. Well, that was the less chunky of the mediums. Alright, I really want Jun to attack before Weizsäcker if possible, so I think I want Weizsäcker to stand by. Yeah, I think that'll work out. And now we have this situation, where the homing shots alone would be enough to kill. But I'd prefer not to waste too much time, because they're definitely going to fire APCRs at me. For that reason, I'm going to wait for them to do something. I'm kind of surprised they haven't fired already, actually. Oh, are they taking aim? Yep, they're definitely taking aim. Well, that's too bad for them. Oh, wow. Well, I guess that answers a bit of a question on my part. Whew, couldn't ask for better results than that. So yeah, at 95% you seem to always hit the legs. At 80% and higher you have a chance of hitting the weapon. So I guess from 80% to 90 or 95, something like that. I'm actually kind of impressed that it was able to close up to medium. Though not that close if I'm still dealing that much damage with homing shot. I also considered the way grenade could possibly be used. So if your legs are broken, you cannot be pushed back by impacts in this game. So my strategy of breaking the legs and then closing in to use heat shells and such with Jun's AFW might have some added benefit if I can use grenade attacks. Okay, you're definitely recovering. So are you. And I could have him attack. In fact, it might not be a bad idea, because that means no more long-range artillery. And my troops are in okay shape, so let's do that. The drawback is Ipe would not be able to reach, and I'd really like Ipe to do something, but it's not that big a deal. Now, why I think light AFWs have a better chance at this than Ipe is, well, it takes a little bit of explaining. This boss is much more punishing if you do not know how light AFWs work and the little perks involved in using them. And in particular, how Dora, the boss, works. This is a vehicle which has a close combat attack, but it's only used as a counter. If you just walk into close combat range, it won't close in on you, it will just shoot. And this is very important, because remember that maximum attack that I told you about, Dora shot? Well, it can only use that at short range or longer because that involves firing its main gun, and look at it. Especially if you're familiar with what Dora shot does, it would get caught in its own blast radius, and that's not Kaiho's style. By the way, I'd like to apologize for the slightly spotty frame rate. I'm not entirely sure what setting I'm using which caused it to go off a bit, considering that previously there didn't seem to be any kind of problem. Oh well. And it seems that I used dodge action not a moment too soon. This is one of those few cases where I prefer for it to shoot at my AFW rather than my guys. And that's because it loads up very fast, and if it fires at one of my squads a lot, that could be in pretty big trouble. Yeah, I can't disagree with you. Let's see what happens if I get a 95% chance against this guy. Nothing happens. Today I learned. Check fire does not work on this guy, game mechanics wise, because it doesn't move. That's why you can't use close combat on me. And the gameplay explanation is the enemy FW is too large for that attack to have any effect. Oh, really? Also, you, probably noticed that I'm not doing very much damage to this guy. Its base armor is very high, and then it has a shield on top of that to further reduce damage. The first 300 hit points of it are probably more durable than the last 500 points. I think I might need to pull back the infantry soon. Armor in this game feels a little bit odd. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, armor reduces damage, but I don't know if it's probably some mix of absolute and percentage reduction. But I can't say for sure. I would love to see if someone had sort of delved into the code of this game to see how some of these things work, because it's a little bit of a mystery. And yeah, a hand pistol shot dealt almost as much damage as a direct autocannon hit. As I said, it's a little weird. Anyway, I sort of touched on... Oh, whoa, I'm short range, that's not good. I'm not sure how that happened, but actually I know exactly how that happened. I pushed myself back with my own shots. Only Kinsado's AFW does that, so I forgot about it. But hey, this is why staying in close combat range is important. Oh boy. Now, I don't think that this will wipe out my my infantry unit that's in the back row because its armor is okay, but hey, look at that. Once again, not a direct hit. That was a high explosive shot that landed more or less at my FW's feet, and that's what happened. But if you're better about managing your distance than I am, and more mindful of the effects of your firing, then you can avoid taking a Dora shot. Well, I removed 125 health worth, which was, for this unit, which had no heat shells and is not really anti-armor, I can't really complain too much. Oh, I have never seen that happen. Never ever. I've only ever seen Kaiho recover in place. Wow, wow, wow. Now I have to really hope that I can leave the battlefield before they fire Dora shot. Also, in retrospect, it was probably best for me to not use dodge action because getting hit would allow me to get knocked back further. I think this is also kind of one of the important parts about the durability of light AFWs. It's that they can escape from a long-range engagement really fast, although of course the CPU never does that. Well, I guess I don't have to delay Weizsäcker now because I need to have him move forward. Wow. This actually, I think I know why. Oh, this is, I actually like this conversation a lot. Alrighty. So the reason that Kaiho did that instead of what usually happens is that when I previously played this game, I hit him with a straight strike from Ippei, which broke his weapon. That's probably what caused the whole thing. Now things are going to be a little bit dicey. Fortunately, since Jun also has dodge and he moves forward fast, I think it'll be okay. Well, I might as well throw out the aim weapon while I can. I can't use that in close combat range. It's also worth mentioning that this doesn't seem to slow him down a whole lot. It might be that a destroyed weapon reduces loading time by a set amount, which is not significant compared to his loading time. Or maybe he just has a secret immunity, I don't know. Anyway, let's fire all these heat shells. I know that moving this far forward took some time, but trust me, the gen loads so fast that I'll be able to fire all of these no problem. Although I do want to move forward a little bit more if I can. Well, I guess I can't do that just yet. Also, you just saw earlier this video how much damage heat shells you do to most targets. 27 is more or less what I was expecting. Yeah, grenade at close combat range, and it does that. I think that's about as close as I want to get. Yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, I forgot to use another dodge action. Well, not a problem. By the way, if you neglected to use Jun a whole lot and didn't know how he worked, you're missing out on this kind of tactic, which I don't know of anyone else on my team who can do this much damage to Dora's shield in one exchange. Well, I should specify. With emergency load, you can probably do more damage with one of the forelegs, but Jun can do that and fairly safely, because once again, avoiding Dora shot and really getting up in their grill and doing all this, very, very handy. Jun could probably solo this boss, actually. Oh, should I be worried? A little bit. Well, now for normal shots. Oh good, that rocket launcher saved my main shell from dealing 2 damage. And now that the shield is off, things are gonna be a fair bit easier. But now you see what I mean by Kaiho just loving them anti-soldier shots. It's probably a... I don't know. It's probably scripted to do that because if it fired at your AFW all the time and you weren't a dodgy light AFW, like something like Ayana or John especially, because they're kind of squishy, then it could probably just kill you outright. But it is very annoying to me because I like using my troops against this guy. Now, it feels kind of bad doing this because John was really itching for a chance to go gun to gun against Dora. But I don't think it's going to work out that way. Where can Weisiger go? Okay, yeah, he can go here. And he can go before Kaiho moves as well. So let's see if I can deal some damage with Ippei. I wonder what he was referring to with "that will be ours." I think what I better do is fire the APC shell and then just move forward and have my troops attack. Because Ippei's not looking so great, and I really don't want him to take a Dora shot like this, considering that he's also going to take counterattack damage when he punches. Also, if I take another versus AFW shell or two, I will definitely want to punch right away. Well, okay, those are actually kind of puny looking guns now that I think about it. Alright, they should fire their shots next, and yeah. Only one of them hit, though? Maybe they're staggered a little bit? I don't know. Okay, now I definitely have to punch him. Well, I can wait for one more, because yeah, that was definitely worth it. I'm starting to think that the dual mechanic setup for these guys might actually not be the best. I don't really come into a lot of situations where it's useful. So, Kaiho is in a position to KO Ippei without a doubt if he gets to move again. Oops, I skipped by that dialogue. Oh well, that's what the pause button is for, I guess. Let's see, Kinsato is definitely not going to attack again. Just double checking. Yeah, this is fine. He can move here. I'm not even sure why I'm bothering to recover, because I'm betting everything on Weisiger's next move. Oh, Ippei actually goes first. I did not expect that. Actually, I should have moved him. Oh well. Attacking him from short range is fine. Oh, they're bringing that question back. Yeah, things have changed between last time and now. I'm not sure what to say about that. I will say that referring to people as half-breeds probably sounded bad even over there. Even, well, maybe not during the time that we're talking about. The 1960s was, they were different times, let's put it that way. We've already established that attacking at short range is not really a big deal for a medium AFW, and especially not for Weizsäcker. Not at this point in the game. And not just because of accurate fire, by the way. I kind of like how parts get kind of knocked off of that thing as you do more damage to it. By the way, fighting during nighttime conditions actually causes pretty big problems for Kaiho. I'm not entirely convinced that my squads will have time to shoot at the enemy very much. Though I won't say no to a few rockets. I also like that once you start hitting the final stretch of the battle, you start hitting its underside. Oh, those rockets might actually be exactly what I need. I do think so. Thanks, guys. Man, those guys have been reliable for the entire game, pretty much. Now, I realize that this video is going to be longer than usual, but this is not a usual encounter in this game. I didn't feel like I could just stop it halfway through. Or at least it wouldn't be a good idea. I mean, really. Since when have we ever actually stopped Kaiho from doing anything? Though I still don't know why he didn't fire that thing sooner. Well, it wasn't aimed at us, of course, but the details of what it was aimed at and why? Fairly interesting. Oh hey, 33 experience. And yeah, that nuke didn't summon up that message. The details are gonna be explained right now. I gotta say, I don't often see nuclear explosions used as fuel for marketing. I know that, once again, 1960s, but I don't know how many open wildernesses are still in Japan. I can't say that John is wrong about that last line. Oh boy, our methods are a little different. They should have asked me to edit this stuff. I could have asked some questions and sort of cleared all that stuff up. Oh, right, I forgot that not everyone knew about this yet. That sentence seems a little ambiguous, but the impression I get is that he loved Japan more than he loved his family. That makes it sound like this is the last mission, but believe it or not, it isn't. Well, it's nice to get some of those... Oh yeah, that's right, Ryoko hadn't used Shures very much. Maybe that's why I wasn't dealing that much damage with them. Though, does it even work that way? That's another reason why I wish some of the mechanics were more transparent. No more new squads. Oof. Dang, so this guy's been... Well, I wouldn't say that he's a mole exactly. He probably had those ideals before South Japan agents made contact with him. If I had to guess, he was kind of playing them to get support for stuff he wanted to do anyway. What would that worst case scenario be, though? Well, he's working for South Japan, so probably that case would be if Ryoko decided to join him. But isn't he working for them too? I don't get it. Maybe if she blows his cover or something? Whatever. Well, this video has gone on for really long, so the fallout, I know, of all of this is something that I'd like to talk about a little bit more next time, because there's a fair bit to talk about. I especially like how the story is kind of vague on whether any of this is going to work and whether anyone involved was right or wrong. But we'll go more into that next time. I think that's the, well, anyway, more stuff to do, believe it or not. because we're still in Russian territory. Just in case you forgot. I said that twice. Ugh, I need a script or something. Yep. Saw that one coming. Didn't quite see that one coming. Whoa, that's a bit of a jump in reasoning, if you ask me. Actually, to give credit, that was a clue. Well, they're definitely not going to get it back now. Yeah, that's one good thing that the nuclear blast did, and I don't get to say that often. No one can pretend that Dora was not a thing. Yeah, everyone knows about Metal Gear now. Yep. Yep. I'm learning to speak Russian now. So, as I understand it, this guy has all the specs for Type 3 in his head, but not for Type 1 and 2. Which is why he wants these guys to surrender their machines. Although I don't think Ryoko's machine is anything incredibly amazing, what Weizsäcker has right now is really good. So it's not a surprise that the Russians would want it. And here comes the made-up charges. Alright, we got a situation in front of us. We're gonna just get started on that next time. Ooh. Well, just in case things weren't crazy enough before. See you then.